Welcome back. Hello, everyone. My name's Rachel. If you know me, no, you don't. So don't lie. Don't lie. Welcome to our first Trains of Thought episode. Creativity is dead? Loaded question. Today, we're going to talk about creativity, more so the lack thereof. Like a lot of things I myself, and maybe you come up with, this is not an original idea. And there lies the whole point of this video. Inspired by the man, Sir Ken Robinson, would I know him for any other reason than this video? Probably not. And his TED Talk, Do Schools Kill Creativity? This video dives a bit deeper into how our education system and society at large is failing creativity. From rigid curricula to the obsession with test scores, we're taught to fear mistakes, conform to the norm, and follow a set path even if it doesn't fit or feel right. In this episode, I break down the subtle and not so subtle ways creativity gets snuffed out, why this is dangerous, and how we can fight back. Whether you're a student, artist, thinker, or just tired of leading a life without purpose or playing it safe, this one's for you. So here's to coloring outside the lines. Okay, so what did Sir Ken have to say? Let me catch you up on this. So he basically goes on to say that children are born with extraordinary capacities for innovation. In fact, they come into this world with tremendous potential. Born artists, Picasso famously said. I mean, I would know. I was once a child. But somewhere along the way, we as a society squash that potential. We teach kids to color inside the lines, follow the rules, and in doing so, we essentially condition creativity out of them. We trade their creative spark for compliance. Bottom line. What's funny, or maybe a bit sad, is that later on, society still expects innovation, leadership, and bold ideas to magically appear. It's pretty much like planting cucumbers and expecting mangoes to grow. It's not gonna happen. Another cool thing about kids is that they don't carry the same fear of being wrong that teenagers and adults do. But the truth is, we live in a society where making a mistake is practically the worst thing you can do. And that's ironic because making mistakes is how we learn, grow, and innovate, yet somehow mistakes are treated like an unforgivable sin, right up there with murder. Think about it. People are terrified, myself included, to speak up in class, start a passion project, or chase a dream. And it's not because they don't think they can do it, but because they're scared of messing up or failing and the social repercussions of that. And Sir Ken said it best. If you're not prepared to be wrong, then you're never going to come up with anything original. So he believes we're educating people out of their creative capacities. He prompts us to look at the education hierarchy. Math is on top, then languages, and then you have the humanities and art. And actually within art, there's a hierarchy, and I'm sure we're well aware of it, where art and music took precedent over drama and dance. So students are actually carefully dissuaded from pursuing what they truly like, often because they're told they'll never get a job in it. And this has real consequences. It makes highly talented people think that they're anything but, because what they excelled at in school wasn't valued or was branded as weird. Robinson uses the example of a kid who loves to dance, always moving, can't sit still. In a traditional classroom, this behavior was seen as a problem. That kid probably might go on to get diagnosed with ADHD, prescribed medications, and then told to calm down and focus. But nobody stops to think, maybe this kid isn't broken. Maybe they're just not meant to sit at a desk for 6 hours straight. I mean, we all remember school stands for 6 crappiest hours of our lives. Robinson goes on to mention, he's talking about Gillian Lynn, by the way, who was once told to stop moving and acting out in class, and then she went on to become a world famous dancer, building a multi-million-dollar career, doing exactly what she was told to stop doing in school. Says a lot. I'd say that pretty much sums up that video. If you prefer a witty British bloke over me, I linked Sir Ken Robinson's TED Talk in the description. It's about a 20-minute watch. If not, buckle up, baby. Here we go. So here's my hot take on all this. So we can blame a lot of things for this creativity crisis, but I think it best to start at the beginning, which is with the structure of our education system. It's built in a way that actively works against the creative mind, and I'm sure we can all attest to this, honestly. For one, you've got the rigid curricula where there's no space to explore. This is what we're learning, and that's it. You have no choice. Sorry. Second is mindless memorization, where the goal is to regurgitate facts and not understand them. I find this one the most frustrating. If I wasn't interested in what I was learning, it was gone the next day after the test was done. I'm not alone on this, and I know it. To my high schoolers out there, it gets 10 times worse in college and university, so that's something to look forward to. A personal story, I guess, is I was in a healthcare law class once. I remember spending hours trying to memorize the name of the court cases. Not what they're about, not what their impact was, just the titles. Because on the test, which was a multiple choice test, if I didn't know the exact name of who versus who the case was on, you basically didn't know the case at all. That right there is my whole point. Prioritizing rote memorization over actual comprehension. Rewarding parrot facts treating us like we're parrots pretty much. So it's safe to say that I dropped that class before my midterm grade even came back. Out of sight, out of mind, baby. I wasn't worrying about it anymore. And of course, we can't forget about the obsessive focus on test scores, reducing learning and students to a number. It's like your entire worth as a student boils down to a single percentage or letter grade. And I'm not here for it. I'm not. We wonder why there's mental health crisis in teens and young adults. They think they're just a number. It's a system that doesn't grow thinkers, it grows performers. Chasing numbers rather than knowledge, where the main drive is chasing a suitable grade rather than pursuing meaningful learning and insight. It's sad. Bottom line is schools don't prioritize originality. Schools prioritize conformity and obedience. It's not about thinking for yourself. It's about fitting in and falling in line. Hot take, baby. That's what we're here for. And this gets even more extreme in post-secondary education. I vividly remember being punished, like actually losing marks, for thinking outside the box on some of my projects. It didn't matter if what I made was good or even great. What mattered was, did I follow the format, use the standard topics, stay in the lines, and correctly use APA formatting? I was always horrible at that. It felt like I was being graded on how well I could copy and paste an idea that already existed and just explain it in a different way. And this culture, this belief that there's only one right way to do things doesn't come from the classroom. No. It's reinforced by the entire system. The whole social misunderstanding about what success is only made worse by the schools. We're constantly pushed into this one-size-fits-all idea of achievement. Memorize, score high, go to university. That's it. And don't get me wrong, university can be great for a lot of people. But the problem is, it's treated like the only path, the default. And let's be real for a sec. Most of us have had this conversation before. You tell the teacher, guidance counselor, hell, you tell your parents that you want to take a different path. Maybe a trade, maybe acting school, or maybe just time to figure stuff out. And suddenly they're like, are you sure about that? You know, there's not many jobs in that field. They don't make very much. You're capable of so much more. What about a major in anthropology? You look like you're interested in pre-industrial toothbrushes. No? Really? Like seriously, give me a break. But the second you mention university, the whole mood flips. Oh my God, what a great plan. You're gonna hate your life, but at least you'll be successful. Sure, you'll be crying in the library at 2 a.m., but at least they're prestigious cheers. So backwards. And yeah, I've been there. I lived it. But somewhere along the way, try like 3 weeks ago, I realized that checking the boxes, like having a great paying job, isn't the same as finding purpose. Moving along, our cultural and social pressures aren't doing us any favors either. There's this quiet but constant pressure to conform, to fit in, to not stand out too much, to be normal, whatever that means. It's like everyone's expected to squeeze themselves into this nice, tidy little box. The right clothes, the right career, the right opinions, even the right hobbies. And the moment you try to step outside of that box with something creative, different, and maybe even a little weird, they gonna shove you right back in through judgment, criticism, and exclusion. And let's be honest, nobody wants that. So what happens? We start shrinking ourselves. We keep the weird ideas to ourselves. We trade originality for social acceptance. And just like that, creativity becomes a risk, not a gift. And slowly, it gets pushed further and further to the side till we see ourselves as just uncreative and unable to come up with anything original. And why is this a threat? Why am I even talking about this? Why do I seem so passionate about it? It's because a world without creativity is not a pretty one. For one, we get stagnation. Without creativity, there's no progress. Society stops evolving, complex problems go unsolved, and outdated systems just keep limping along. Case in point, the Canadian healthcare system. It's clearly not working anymore, hasn't for a while, and honestly, it's screaming for a creative solution. And that's about all I'll say on that because yikes. But this isn't just about broken systems, it's about broken people. When creativity disappears, so does individual fulfillment. Hello? Because let's be real, humans are creative at our core. Just look around. Everything that exists now was once just a weird idea in someone's brain. Someone, somewhere, thought outside the box, ignored all the people who said it was stupid, and just went for it. So when we lose the ability to express that part of ourselves, we lose purpose. We become just another gear in someone else's machine. Or worse, a paperclip. Useful, but totally replaceable. Don't be a paperclip. And we can't forget about culture because creativity is its backbone. Art, music, books, movies, all the things that make life rich and human. Without creativity, it starts to feel repetitive, watered down, commercialized. It becomes shallow, safe, and painfully predictable. A great but slightly controversial example is all the live action remakes that they're making lately. They're running out of ideas, people. But it's safe, it's easy, it's predictable. The brand is known, the audience is already built in, the risk of flopping is super low. They know people are gonna like it. They're literally selling nostalgia as novelty. It's like the film industry, an industry that should be thriving on boldness and imagination, is turning into a factory of low risk, high profit duplicates. It's less like filmmaking and more like copy paste, and adjust the lighting a little bit. And don't even get me started on the Minecraft movie, because what the hell was that? No shade to Jack Black though. The man's a revolutionary genius and can do no wrong. Moving on. What are we gonna do about it? How do we battle a system that's constantly trying to snuff out our creativity? Pretty simple. Make the space for it. Even if it's in small doses, just create something. Anything. A doodle, a weird sentence, a half-baked idea. It doesn't need to be big or brilliant. It just needs to exist. It's not about having the right idea, just any idea. Protect your weird ideas. Write them down. Don't judge them. Some things that seem totally ridiculous at the time are actually gold and they just need some time to grow. Resist the pee-pee trap. That's productivity and perfectionism. Get your minds out of the gutter. Productivity says do more, better, faster. Perfectionism says don't start unless it's flawless. And both together kill creativity. Creativity dies where everything has to be useful, monetized, and perfect. Get messy. Make some ugly art. Write nonsense, and before you know it, you tap into a genius you didn't even know you had. Start questioning what's considered normal and why. Because society will try to convince you that there's only one right way to think, dress, speak, or succeed. But ask yourself, who even made these rules? And if you don't like the answer, ask to speak to the manager. Finally, and most importantly, be loud about your passions, about the things that set your soul on fire. Because when you unapologetically show the world what makes your heart beat faster, you're not just living more authentically, you're giving everyone else the permission to do the same. When you speak your truth, in your voice, your art, your ideas, you remind others they can speak theirs too. And that's beautiful. But what really is creativity in its simplest form? Let's talk about it. Creativity isn't about getting it right or even making anything inherently good. It's about letting something unexpected happen. It's messy, it's weird, it often doesn't make sense at first. And I think that's kind of the beauty of it all. It's doodling nonsense in the margin, blurting out the wrong word and realizing it sounds better than what you planned. It's starting with one idea and ending up somewhere completely different and loving it. Because true genius doesn't come from playing it safe, it comes from embracing the chaos. And Lord knows we got lots of chaos to embrace. Surrendering to the process rather than obsessing over the outcome. It's about trusting that something meaningful can emerge, even if we don't know what that is yet. But we're so conditioned to get things right, produce something polished and perfect, that we end up actually overthinking ourselves into a corner. When you go to sit down to create something and you're full of ideas, and the next thing you know, it's been an hour and you're still staring at a blank page as white as the friendly ghost himself. And that right there, that's the trap. The moment where perfectionism suffocates potential, where fear of failure shuts down curiosity, where creativity dies before it even has a chance to breathe. But it's at this moment where you can decide, you can let the fear of getting it wrong stop you, or you can lean into it. You can give yourself permission to make something bad, something cringy, and just see what happens. It's all in the actual act of creating and surprising yourself. Creativity doesn't ask you to be perfect and tailored, just to begin, to start. And even if it sucks, it's still yours, uniquely yours, and that's pretty special. Yeah, it's scary, but I like to think that staring at a blank piece of paper your whole life is a lot scarier. Anyways, if you like this video, I'm posting weekly, or trying to. If you want to know more about this channel and what I'm about, here's my introduction video. If not, anyways, I think that's all I have for you guys. Just be you. Be weird. Have a great week. See you next time.